Well, hello and welcome to Cereal at Midnight. I am Heath, and in this episode, I am going to give you a book review of Hollywood Eden by Joel Selvin. This is a music book that chronicles 1958 to 1966 of the Southern California music scene. The tagline says, "Electric guitars, fast cars, and the myth of the California paradise." It's a good summary. Joel Selvin is a music journalist. I was going to say he's a critic. He's not really a critic as much as he just writes about musicians and gives us context. He's a journalist, wrote for a paper for a long time. He may still write for a paper, but he's responsible for books about the Grateful Dead, the Rolling Stones at Altamont, the Hells Angels, everything that happened at that fateful show, The Summer of Love. This is his latest. This is his newest book. I was very excited when it came out because this is really something that I love very much. It's talking about the music of the Southern California scene in these years, 1958 to 1966. But his hook for the book is that he mentions in the afterword, he'd written about a lot of people that had transplanted to California. But this is about cats that were born in Southern California and they rose up, they lived there. Talking about Nancy Sinatra, the daughter of Frank Sinatra, just kind of. He references how it's sort of like people in New York that never look up at the skyscrapers because they just live there every day and it's not abnormal to them, that the wonderful atmosphere of Southern California, the sunshine, the beaches, the girls, the parties, the music, the culture, the movie stars, that if you grow up in that, it doesn't feel special. That's just your environment, and how these people manifested such magnificent things for a period. So he's got it broken down. I don't want to spoil this for you guys. It's history. It's music history, so it's not really that kind of a story. But he's got it broken down. It starts with the class of 1958. So University High School, Jan Berry and Dean Torrance. It's Jan and Dean, the surf music icons. Nancy Sinatra went to that school. Bruce Johnson graduated that year, who would later join the Beach Boys. Meanwhile, at Fairfax High School, Herb Alpert, Phil Spector. Beverly Hills High School, Terry Melcher. Charles Manson fans, take note. Fans might be the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying. People that are fascinated by that mystery. Hawthorne High School, Brian Wilson, who would, of course, the Beach Boys, and their Beach Boys run all throughout this. Lee Hazelwood plays into this. Gary S. Paxton. It's musical appearances by Jan and Dean, the Beach Boys, the Mamas and the Papas, the Byrds, Ike and Tina Turner, Nancy Sinatra, and many others. That's where this is. It starts the class of 58, rock and roll, Elvis Presley, and how these kids, it talks about how like graduation night, they have a party. I think Frank Sinatra comes and plays the party at the high school. Can you imagine? And then they leave the party and go walk along the beach until the early hours of the morning. Like, that's just amazing. And how these kids would go on to create, follows them through the surf music movement, how, the rise of surf. Jan and Dean becoming, their contributions to the surf music movement, to the hot rod, the car song, Little Deuce Coupe, the Beach Boys, and the competition going on with all that Southern California stuff that made California feel like made Hollywood feel like not just a small town. It made it feel like it was the center of everything, and it soon became the center of everything, in part because of the people associated with the telling of this story. It carries us through all these things: the arrival of the Beatles on the U.S. shores, the British invasion, and then we sort of end with Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, Phil Spector having a huge failure. It's the spoilers for his future life too, but sort of calling it quits for a while, and then how basically Jan was in a terrible car accident. This is historical record again. It's not really spoiling anything because it's what happens in the middle of all this. That's the story. So I thought it was good. Joel Selvin writes in a way that it's kind of hard for me to follow. It's almost like, and I can attest to this because of all the videos that I do. Sometimes the way your brain works and the way you're able to express information don't always line up. I'm not always with him. He's always like, sometimes he'll introduce, so-and-so was married to so-and-so. They had a happy relationship until things got a little more complicated. And then in the next chapter, he'll talk about how so-and-so had recently divorced so-and-so, talking about the people we were already talking about. But he doesn't present it like they had been having trouble and now they were divorced. That's not how he presents it. It's almost like he's introducing the information again for the first time. And that's, I'm like, wait, you're talking about these people like we didn't just talk about them 15 pages ago. That probably just the way his brain works. But if you're into the subject matter, this is probably an Audible book as well, if I had to guess. Great story, great music, and getting just a little bit. I know a lot of these stories. I know the Beach Boys and Pet Sounds and Brian Wilson, and I know the surf music, and I know Jan and Dean, and I even know Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazelwood. But when you weave all this together as the class of 1958, that's something I've never seen before. So Hollywood Eden, this is out now, and I enjoyed it very much. So let me know what you think about it if you read it. Guys, take care. Until next time, I will catch you.